Hey, good evening. Good evening. This is Shona Levy. I am the founder of 360 for Life and the hostess of Cancer Be Gone speaker series. I really made a promise to you that after my visit to Disney Magic Kingdom, I will come and show you how to prepare your chickpea burgers. And my good friend Shango reminded me of that. So I got it started. I also got started and finished the Brussels sprouts. So that was the second thing that I started. I told you, stay tuned. We would definitely and for sure take a look at that as well. And not to forget your sprouts. I got here in Kissimmee on Tuesday. It is now Thursday. First day, I soaked the chickpeas. I am sprouting a bit of those, so they're not cooked. Some of the other chickpeas, I made the hummus. I'm making the soup, okay? And we're making set aside portion of them for sprouting, so you can have a bit of practice with that. You have to be careful of your sprouts, okay? You have to make sure that you're rinsing them twice a day. Some legumes sprout faster than others. Some beans sprout faster than others. But you really have to make sure that you're paying attention to them, you're nurturing them. It's just like, something that you are caring for in its infant stage. So once you soak these beans, whatever kind of bean it is, I just like chickpeas because they're so versatile. You have to make sure that you soak them overnight, and then you start the sprouting process by rinsing them and draining them. Rinse and drain, rinse and drain. Some people might have a jar, and you can simply put over top of that jar, you can simply put a net over top of the jar. I'm big on repurposing, y'all. Don't laugh, because we throw things away and it's not trash, right? So this is a good net for your chickpeas, sprouting them, your beans, your lentils, sprouting them. Not anything smaller than those, because they'll go right through these holes. So, sometimes your onion bags will have really, really closer knit holes, so you can use those for sprouting. These are kind of big, so you can use these for your big beans like I had just mentioned, and put it over top of your jar with a rubber band, and you just rinse, turn it over with the jar, and turn it over with the rubber band on it, and make sure that it's draining in your drain board. Since I am visiting here at Vacation Village at the Parkway House, I don't have everything that I would normally have, but I have enough, and I'm going to make what I have work. So I'm encouraging you to do the same. These are the chickpeas that I'm sprouting, and they have not started to sprout yet, but I'm going to continue to nurture them and rinse and pour. Rinse and pour. All right, and make sure that they're well drained, because you don't want your beans to start to mold in water. That's why you have to take really good care to rinse them twice a day. Once in the morning and then once after you get home from work. Should be fine. Okay? Oh, I also started to make my flatbread. I told you it was easy. Just bread, just a little flour and water. What I used for my water was actually the broth that we started yesterday from the Brussels sprouts and the tops and the bottoms of the garlic and onion and what have you. And that's what I used for my liquid, for my flatbread. In addition to that, I used about a teaspoon or half a teaspoon of my herbs. I bring my own herbs: tarragon, thyme, rosemary, oregano, in a little baggie, because I know I'm going to be cooking. That's why I pick places like this with beautiful kitchens so that I can make my own food. Now, I spent a lot of time today in on my outing, but that is not going to deter me from coming back and making sure that I keep my word. So here I am draining. I put my netting from the Brussels sprouts, I put that over top of the bowl, and I'm just pouring off the excess water. I let it sit for a minute so that that water could drain to the bottom, and then I just turned it over like that, okay, to make sure all that water was off the beans. And then I'll just sit them back into my cabinet, into a nice dark cool place. Do not put them in the refrigerator. That will retard the sprouting process. Okay, so I told you I will help you to make the burgers. So we set aside a bit of the chickpeas to make chickpea burgers. And what I did here was I took that portion that we set aside and I just started to mash it and mash it and mash it. While I was mashing, I had a half a cup of quinoa along with my broth that I made from my Brussels sprouts and onions. I had that cooking. So half a cup of quinoa to perhaps as much beans as we had, and I believe it was about 2.5 cups of the cooked garbanzo beans. Okay, and while I'm mashing my beans, my quinoa is cooking. Okay, and you want to make sure that you mash them up and not put them in a food processor, because when you put them in the food processor, you basically lose the consistency of the bean and it turns out to be hummus, which I'll show you in a second. Now, you might not mind having burgers like that, but I wanted to see some of this bean in my bean burger to let people know that this is not anything but beans and quinoa, and it tastes so good. And that's why we do it like this. That's why I do it like this. We forgot about putting the love in things, and the more time you put into something, the more love that you put into it. You know, because you're paying attention, you're nurturing, you're preparing, you know, and that's what we want in our kitchen. We want the love put back into our food, and all this processed stuff and you know, all of these things that are going into our body to cease and desist from making us sick. Okay, so we have here the chickpeas. I put about a quarter cup of my quinoa into the beans after I mashed them. All right, and then I put about a quarter cup of flour into the bean quinoa mix so that the flour would hold it together. Now, there's certain kinds of flour that you might like to use. I always say, you know, go with what your body, you know, works works well with, you know, when you're trying these new things, because everything is not going to appeal to you. So I used all-purpose white flour. Now, a lot of people might say, "Oh no," you know, but it is what it is. I am out here on vacation, and I got what I could, and I'm making it work. So, when you put your burger, your bean burger, together with your quinoa, with your half a cup of flour, you know, make sure that it sticks together. If it does not stick together like a burger, if it doesn't do that, put some more flour. Put some more flour in it. Okay? And then that way you can be sure that it's going to stick together. Just a little bit at a time though. I wouldn't go over much with the flour because you don't want it to be floury. You don't want it to be floury. You want to taste that garlic. You want to taste the spices. You know, you want that consistency of the bean. You want all of that flavor in your burger. So the flour will retract from that. So if you can, just go lightly with it. Go lightly with the flour until you get to a consistency like a burger. And they'll look like that. Okay? They'll look like that. Yep. So once again, you just take that portion that you had started with, you mash it, and you mash it, and you mash it until you get, you know, all of those beans mashed up. And then you turn your oven on. Okay. Turn your oven on. I'm taking out my Brussels sprouts. I made the Brussels sprouts. Oh, this smells so good. And this is going to be so delicious. So these are the Brussels sprouts with the onions, okay, and my cranberries. So this is part of my meal that I have with my hummus and my veggies. This is the hummus. And I cut up some zucchini for my hummus. And these are going to be baked at 350 degrees. As I just took the Brussels sprouts out, which I'm going to have to remove them from that Pyrex dish because I need it. So I'm removing them from the Pyrex dish. And I'm going to use this Pyrex dish for my bean burgers. Now, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any concerns about what you have created, leave it in the comments section and let's work it out, okay? Because the holidays are coming up and you all have to be ready. And if you don't feel as though you're ready with this, don't do it. Please don't. Because you don't want to turn yourself off and you don't want to turn anybody else off. So, it is the 22nd. And we are ready to rock and roll with baking our chickpea burgers. Now, some people might bake them. Okay, some people might fry them. I like to do both. But in this case, since I had spent so much time outside today, that started very early this morning. Since I spent so much time, I really don't want to have to wait until I do on my flatbread and then have to take the only pan that I have and start doing, frying these up. So I'm going to use what I have. I have a Pyrex dish. I'm going to use this Pyrex dish, and I'm going to put a little of my oil, just a little of my oil into the casserole dish. And then I'm just going to spread it around. The oven is already hot, folks, because I just took the Brussels sprouts out. So the oven is ready to go. It's already hot. And my bathtub is already ran. So I ran my water already. I started my flatbread already. And here are our little burgers. Our little bean burgers are going right into the oven. Okay? So these are going to go into the oven for about 45 minutes. And then we'll check on them. So 45 minutes, check on them. 350 degrees, preheated oven. All right, so now we have them going on in the oven, 45 minutes. I am going to continue doing my flatbread, and I'll show you how to do that. In this bowl, I had 2 cups of flour and about a half a cup of water. Started out with a half a cup of water, but I had to add more. And I used the broth. I didn't use water. I really used the broth. Okay, so I used maybe about 3/4 cups of my broth as my liquid. And I kneaded it and kneaded it and kneaded it until it was just a sticky mess. Okay, you don't want it too sticky, but it was sticky. So what I had to do was I had to throw some more flour on top of it, and I let it rest. I let it rest for a little bit. Let it rest for a little bit, and then I went and I divided it. How long did... Okay, so I let it rest for about 15 minutes because I have been moving. I've been moving very quickly since I walked through the store. So I let it rest for about 15 minutes, and then I separated it in half, and then I separated the halves in half, and then I pulled those apart, and I put 3 sections to each quarter. So I had a lot. I had a lot, so ooh. I don't have my rolling pin, but that's not going to stop me either, because what I do is I just take my little bowl. I separated the halves in half, and I got little balls out of it like this. See? Nice little round bowl. Okay, and then I just start to press and press, and it becomes like a little disc like that, and then that's when I put it down onto the plate. Sometimes your plate might need a little flour on it so that this disc won't stick to it. Now, as far as your pan is concerned, your pan doesn't have to have oil in it. You know, these this bread, this flatbread, you can either put oil right directly in the pan, just a little bit. You could put oil into the mixture of your flour and water, just maybe about a teaspoon of it, no more than that, into your flour and water mixture, and just knead that in. But whatever you do, don't put too much oil in it, because you don't want your flatbread floating around in a whole bunch of oil. Okay? So, you are the captain of your ship. In a lot of cases, we cannot eat this bread that they have out there on the market because it's causing people digestive issues. Along with the food, everything's getting stuck in their digestive system. They're like, what in the world's going on with my digestive system? Blah, blah, blah. You're not cleansing. You're eating things that just don't work well with your system. And you're putting a whole lot of meat behind it. So everything's getting stuck. And then there's nothing to flush because you don't want to drink water. You know, so these things are really simple. We have to put the love back into the kitchen, right? Drink your water. Offer your water. Make it infused water that you're offering, not just any old kind of water, okay? Get yourself a beautiful carafe and slice up some lemons. Throw some rosemary in there. Throw some thyme in there. Beautiful presentation. You know, mint, basil. You know, this is infused water. People love, you know, exotic stuff. So, what I'm saying is, put the love back in your kitchen and take Satan out. Take him out. Kick him to the curb. There's a lot of this stuff can be managed a lot more easily than we give it credit for. Simplicity is gold. So that is my piece of flatbread. I'm putting it right into the pan there. So I'll give it about a couple of minutes. Shouldn't take long. And that's on low. This is an electric stove if you haven't realized it. So I have it on 2. So that's kind of low. All right. I don't want to put any more flour because I don't want them floury. So I'm just going to take my 2 minutes and press out another piece of bread. And we can just make sure that we're watching it, okay? Because it will have to be flipped. Make sure you have something to flip it. A spatula, a fork, a knife or something. Just make sure you have something to flip it, because if you're over here like I am and you're you know, really into what you're doing, I'm talking and I'm mashing, and I'm going to have to make sure I have my tools, my utensils really close, just in case I'm like, oh, I've got to flip. So I'll be ready. And I'm ready. I have this. So I'm ready on the front with my little tool. And that was my oven. I didn't have it on. I turned it off so my Brussels sprouts wouldn't burn. Yes. So, yeah. I'm powering down for tonight. I had a very long day. Wonderful day, actually, in Magic Kingdom in Disney World. And, yeah, made some memories. Awesome memories. I am a cartoonie, and I love my cartoons. I love my Mickey and my Minnie. Okay, I'm well over 50 years old, and I will always love my Disney. And all of these programs and whatnot that they have coming out now, very mindful, you know. Yeah, they teach you lessons. You have to look further than just the character in the cartoons and whatnot. You just have to look and read into the script a little bit more. But I thoroughly enjoyed myself today. Took pictures with Mickey. I took pictures of the parade with Minnie and Mickey. I met Snow White. Yes, I did. I met Snow White, y'all. And I was so excited. I was so excited. I told her, you know, she was very beautiful and very well mannered, and her mannerisms were great. And she just told me out the blue now, y'all, that she was making a gooseberry pie for Grumpy because he wasn't feeling too good. I said, this child done told me she made a gooseberry pie for what reason? So sometimes you got to think about things a little bit farther. And I read up on gooseberries. I need y'all to do that. Read up on gooseberries and how very important to the system that they are. This is 360 for life. I'm giving you tools. Life skills and tools so that you can make the proper decisions for yourself. So you're going to have to do some of this research for yourself and see things through my eyes. Okay? Because I'm not going to just be here telling you this and telling you that. You know, it's not what a teacher does. Teacher allows the student to develop their own ideology and theory. Okay? So that they can bring their own understanding to the table. Okay? Each one teach one. So it's really important that you all learn this and you take full advantage of it. Look up gooseberries. Very important information. And lastly, I want to tell you to, you know, with your meals for the holidays, just make sure with your meals for the holidays that you are bringing in those cruciferous vegetables, bringing in those good fruits and vegetables that will help and not hinder your family and friends. Gooseberry pie, pumpkin pie, you know, these different types of fruits actually have tremendous value to our health and our wellness. And 360 for Life tries to incorporate that ideology into your plate so that you can have a better experience. Now, I'm not quite used to where everything is, but I just wanted to show you all of this that we've been doing here over the past few days. With the beans, we started to soak them. Okay, with the sprouts, we're not finished sprouting, but they're sprouting. Okay, so that's a good thing. We're still working on them. we do have our hummus. So we have that. And we have our soup that is in the pot. Boiling. Okay. This is our flatbread. It's on 2. It's on low so it won't burn. And this is our soup. Okay, can you see that? Yeah. Okay, so the soup has mushrooms, Brussels sprouts, the beans, some onion, okay, and celery. Really, really good. I'll keep this with me. Really, really good ingredients to put on the plate and share with the family and friends. Okay, so here we have, I wish I could turn this around, but I don't know how. So I'll just do it like this. Okay, hopefully you can see. This is the Brussels sprouts here. Okay, Brussels sprouts. This is the flatbread that we're going to use for the hummus, along with the zucchini. I cut up a little bit of that. And I made the hummus in that wonderful contraption here. It took a lot, but it's okay. You just have to use what you have. Use what you have. And everything else will fall into place. So, we have soup, flatbread, zucchini sticks, hummus, and Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts are full of protein. Quinoa, full of protein. I have quinoa over here also. You know, we have our burgers in the oven there. And they're going to bake. We have the timer on. They're going to bake for about 45 minutes. And we're going to check them. Right? People have different types of ovens and stoves and whatnot. So your timing might change a little bit. It's okay. Check it. Check it. You know, especially if the alarm goes off. Make sure you're checking your food. Because everybody's timing is not the same. Okay. So, I hope you enjoyed this edition of 360 for Life. Please let me know how you make out with your sprouts. I'll be checking back in to see what kind of comments I have on my page for your sprouts. Let me know if you use that idea, if you found some onions and you're using that idea of repurposing that netting and take it, put it over top of a cup. You don't have to have a jar. And more than likely you do have a jar because we have jars. We have jars. We have jars. We have cups. We have everything that we need. And this stuff just goes right in the trash. But you can reuse your things, you know, repurpose your things so that they can add value to your kitchen, you know, and value to your health. So your health is your wealth. Please comment, like, subscribe, share, and I look forward to hearing from you and seeing how you're progressing through this transition. So I am going to eat now. You enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye for now. Take care. Good night.